Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and today we are going over my top 5 destroyers. Now, these are, of course, my personal favorite destroyers, and I am nothing but a dirty, filthy battleship main, so that's probably going to be reflected into some of the choices made here, but just keep that in mind as we go through this list. So let's go ahead and get on into it, but right before we do that, make sure if you do find yourself enjoying this video, make sure you drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, all that jazz helps on the YouTube side of things. But now, number 5, we have the Tier 10 Soviet destroyer, the Khabarovsk. Now, the Khabarovsk, since the last time I made this video, in which the Kaba was also my number 5 pick, she has received a buff. She has now been given a super hill. Not really a super hill, it's an improved hill. And any hill you get on a destroyer is a pretty good pickup, let alone an improved hill like the Khabarovsk does get. And that is absolutely massive. Why? Well, because the Khabarovsk is a run-and-gun destroyer. Her whole thing is gunning down the enemy while dancing around the shots that are returned to her. Not really dancing around it, more like using her throttle to just simply make the enemy team shooting at her lose their absolute mind. She does have a really large turning circle radius, and she's not really that maneuverable, but she can, especially with her speed boost going, speed up and slow down mighty quickly, and that helps her avoid a lot of the incoming fire. Now, on top of that, the Khabarovsk has, of course, Soviet guns. Soviet guns come with great ballistics, excellent air drag coefficient, which means at range, her shells don't really have the same issues that many other nations' shells have at range. They don't really hang in the air for too long. They get to where they're going pretty quickly, which means that you combined that along with her speed, and she is great for just melting things down at longer ranges and, well, not really receiving too much incoming fire in return. In fact, man, years ago the Khabarovsk was way scarier than it is now, because you used to be able to get her guns out to around 15-16 kilometers, and her guns were more than capable of easily landing shots at that range on larger ships like heavy cruisers and battleships. And in return, good luck getting anything on a Khabarovsk at 15-16 kilometers. However, Wargaming realized this was a little bit too much, and they proceeded to nerf the Khabarovsk's main battery gun range, where now you can only get her out to 13.5 kilometers, which is just like barely on the edge of the range that makes her useful. So essentially now, if you want to play Khabarovsk or get like a little taste of Khabarovsk, of how she was back in the day, you have to essentially play her at her maximum range all the time, but you can play a little bit closer. However, you will be eating more shells in return, and that is where that improved hill comes into play. See, the Khabarovsk has two choices when it comes to equipment. You can play a smoke Khabarovsk, or you can play a hill Khabarovsk. I don't know why in the world you would take smoke on a destroyer that's this fast. It just doesn't make much sense. Sitting in smoke isn't really how you're meant to Kaba. So the hill allows you to take a couple of those hits in return and keep on chugging. And now with the improved hill, it's a lot more comfortable to play the Khabarovsk in today's World Warships. Now, there have been a few more gunboats released since the Kaba came out that do what she does, but better. However, the Khabarovsk always has a special place in my heart. It's a fun ship to play, it's a challenging playstyle, and it's one that I do enjoy. You know, she's great in open water gunboating situations, going to the flanks, annoying the enemy team, burning down ships that are silly enough to stay in her main battery gun range. It's a great time when all goes well, and that improved hill makes the Khabarovsk so much easier to play nowadays. And she is a coal ship, so you can get her completely for free. Alright, going on our way down now to number 3, we have the Tier 10 Pan-European destroyer, the Jaeger. The Jaeger is a ship that, you know, if I can do it, you can too, right? She is one of the best torpedo boats in the game, in my opinion. Why? Well, you get a pretty solid set of torpedoes here, both in terms of speed, the quantity, and the reload time. You see, the Jaeger is essentially like a Tier 4 destroyer, just turbo mega charged up to Tier 10, and given, well, one job, basically. Find the enemy ships, throw a bunch of torpedoes at them, and, well, don't get caught, because if you do get caught with a Jaeger, the gun power is absolutely abysmal. You have, what, 3 150mm guns, like 3 single-mounted deck guns? That's the Jaeger's main battery. That's not enough to do really anything but higher tier. However, with a proper build, she is a properly scary torpedo boat. She gets those pan-European torpedoes that do, a menial amount of damage, but they have a very high top speed, especially if you build into it, which means that she is one of the easiest torpedo boats at higher tier to, get torpedoes on target. But of course, that's balanced out by the fact that her torpedoes don't really do that much damage per torp. Now, if you land your entire broadside of torpedoes on a higher tier ship, obviously it's going to hurt them. And it's not that hard to really do that, considering she has, an excellent concealment rating with the build. And if you have Jersey Swirsky, once you get, 12 torpedoes on target, you get a boost to the reload time of your torpedoes. And she already has a sub 60-second reload time if you build into it. So that is just great right there. And she has an engine boost and a heal to kind of help her along at higher tier. And again, if I can make this boat work, you can make it work. And on top of all that, she is another coal ship. So you can get the Jaeger completely for free in the armory right now. She was released at an event where you could earn her for free yet again. So this has just been a solid ship all the way around in terms of the value of the ship. And playing the Jaeger I won't say it'll make you a better pan European destroyer player, but it will certainly get you used to their torpedoes. So you can pick her up for free if obviously if you haven't got to tier 9 yet. Get to tier 9 in a destroyer line, then pick up the Jaeger for coal. And she's a good little taste of what's to come with the pan-European destroyer line. But the main line, you get a little more gunboaty in there and all that jazz. But yeah, she is a great little boat in my mind. Again, one that you can pick up for free. All right, going on our way down now to number 3. We have the tier 8 premium American destroyer, the Kid. The Kid is my favorite Fletcher variant in game. Among the we've got 6, 7 Fletchers in game now. Only 210 more to go wargaming. Let's keep on. We need more Fletchers in game wargaming. I want all of them in game. But anyway, the Kid is probably one of the best new player destroyers. Now again, I'm not telling you to go out and buy the Kid if you don't have a tier 8 destroyer. Again, grind to tier 8 in a destroyer line, then pick up the Kid so you have an idea of what you're doing. But this is definitely a destroyer I would feel comfortable recommending to a newer destroyer player. She's very, very comfy to play if you don't really have a firm grasp of how to destroy her just yet. Again, grind to tier 8 in a destroyer line, then pick up the Kid. So, what I mean by a comfortable ship for a new destroyer player? Well, she's just that. She's all around comfy. She's a tier 9 destroyer that's been down tiered to tier 8, given a weaker set of torpedoes and one less set of torpedoes. But in exchange, you get a heal and excellent AA with DFAA. The Kid is still one of the very few plane blenders left in game. Now, of course, if you go full tilt AA build in it is a pretty scary time. But even just doing a standard destroyer build, not even really building into AA, with the DFAA alone, you won't really have too many problems getting them clear sky medals at all with the Kid. So that's great, especially if you're just pissed off and annoyed at CVs, right? But on top of that, you get that heal and the long duration American smokescreen, which is great for going to a cap, contesting the cap, smoking up when you get spotted to disengage, or, of course, smoking up and getting on farming down the enemy ships. Because, again, long duration American smoke. And if you want to be a more effective destroyer player, make sure you smoke up your friendly teammates as you do this, because, well, that's what's that American smoke is so good for, right? So yeah, it's got the Fletcher guns, great rate of fire, great for bullying other DDs in the cap. You can use your heal to kind of just brute force your way through the other DDs. And keep in mind too, there's not, even still today, and the Kid is quite an old ship, I might add. It's one of the earlier premiums that were added to the game. But even still today, there's not that many Tier 8 destroyers that have a hill, right? Let alone a hill attached to a ship that has Fletcher guns, you know? Those American 5-inch guns. Those are some pretty good guns from close range cap engagement, right? So that's a pretty potent combo right there. Now, of course, too, the Kid's also another special ship to me because I am quite close to the real-life Kid. It's the first museum ship I ever visited in game, and it sent me on down this slope, you know, my little fascination with naval history, and eventually winding up playing World of Warships and doing a YouTube channel about World of Warships. So that's all the Kid's fault, right? So very special destroyer in my heart, not only the real-life one, but of course the one in game, and an excellent Tier 8 destroyer you can pick up for doubloons in game at this moment. Alright, going on our way down now to number 2, we have the Tier 10 Techline French destroyer, the Kleber. The Kleber is, well, it's the destroyer I was referring to when I was talking about the Khabarovsk. You know, I love the Khabarovsk, I love the gameplay style of the Khabarovsk, but the Kleber is just better at the Khabarovsk for running gunning today. So like I said, Wargaming decided that, you know, having a destroyer that was extremely quick at, 16 kilometers burning down battleships wasn't really that great for the game. So they nerfed the Khabarovsk. However, of course, few years later, we get the Kleber, which does exactly what old Khabarovsk did, but better. So they gave the Khabarovsk guns with, you guessed it, you know, great parameters to farm down ships from 16 kilometers. They didn't give it a hill, but they did give the Kleber and the whole French destroyer line too, the French damage saturation, where essentially the portions of the ship get saturated faster, which leads to the Kleber eating about half the damage she really should after getting shot a couple of times. So that means pretty tough destroyer to kill in the long run. And then they gave her reload booster on top of all of that, and of course engine boost as well. So now you have an even meaner Khabarovsk, but it's French, and you know the French can have all the OP and busted ships that they want. It's kind of funny how that works, right? But I mean, hey, it's good for running down a flank, absolutely annoying the hell out of the enemy team, burning down battleships and cruisers and bullying other destroyers with a reload booster. There's not really too many destroyers that can go toe-to-toe with the Kleber with the reload booster in terms of the sheer amount of shells and DPM she can put downrange, even in today's World of Warships. Bar, super ships with their burst fire mode, right? So it's a really scary destroyer to come across when you're in, well, really anything else, right? Of course, if you have Avignon, you can slap him on there. That's definitely makes this destroyer scarier, because just think about his skill, where once you get 2 million potential damage, you get a boost to your top speed. It is so easy to get 2 million potential damage in the Kleber. You can just dance around the shells with your throttle. Again, very much like the Khabarovsk. And of course, Khabarovsk, you can throw Kuznetsov on there and get his Will to Victory talent as well. It's where you live a little bit longer, so that's true as well. But yeah, the Kleber is just scary. It is scary to run across. You could also put the Marceau here as well, as they are very similar ships. The Marceau trades the larger caliber long range guns for more rapid firing, closer range guns, more traditional destroyer guns, if you will. But I mean, if you were sad about Khabarovsk getting nerfed and you don't want to play the Super Khabarovsk, right? You can play the Kleber and have just as good of a time running down the flanks with the Kleber. It's just a tech line ship too, so that is a completely free ship that you don't even have to worry about coughing up any coal doubloons or anything like that for. And I would highly recommend you grind her out if you are a fan of running and gunning. Alright, we're going our way down now to our number 1 ship, which is the Tier 10 Pan-European destroyer, the Småland. So the Småland is absolutely one of the best destroyers in the game. I don't think that you don't really have to be a destroyer main to realize that. The Småland is just a crazy little ship. So what makes the Småland so crazy? Well, you get a set of extremely rapid firing guns there on the Småland, along with a radar that is very conveniently just a kilometer or two outside of the Småland's minimum detection range when she has a build on it. And well, you get the Pan-European torpedoes as well. 2 sets of them for your small end. And these torpedoes, again, like the Jaeger, they're fast but low damage, so very easy to get these torpedoes to connect onto the enemy ships. So all that together makes this a very mean camp contesting destroyer, which means if you are good in a small end, it is very easy for you to alter the course of games, let alone be it in randoms, ranked, or in competitive play like in clan battles as well. Smallland is a ship that you typically see a fair amount of in randoms. I'm sorry, in clan battles and in ranked, because it is so good for, well, again, securing those caps. Also, it has it's very unique, well, I think a couple of ships have it now. It's very unique emergency engine power consumable, where you get a higher boost to your top speed than other engine boosts give you, but a shorter duration time. I mean, this boost takes the small one, which is typically a pretty slow destroyer, up to 47 knots, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, but again, you only get it for a minute. So this ship is great for murdering any other destroyers that are in the cap with you, let alone securing the cap, right? There are very, very destroyers, even again, to this day, they can stand toe-to-toe with a small end and give it a run for its money. And even if they do that, well, small end gets a heal on top of all of that too. So it doesn't really care too much about the damage it takes as long as it survives. The amount of times we've seen Smalllands in clan battles that escape with, just a few thousand HP left, and then, well, by the time you see them again, guess what? They've healed most of that damage back, and now they're ready to go again with their crazy guns. And yeah, it is a solid ship for anything competitive. So if you get good at playing a Smallland in random battles, you are certainly a force to be reckoned with. Now, sadly though, the Smallland is no longer available. Outside of course things like the Christmas event, which we have a little bit of time left on that. I'm not saying go throw all your money at the Santa containers in game to get the Smallland, but I mean, like, it is a pretty good ship if you do wind up picking it up in one of those, or in a super container, or if they bring it back in some other event and you manage to get one. You certainly did. You spend all your RNG for the year getting that ship out of that container is what I'm saying. So guys, those are my top 5 destroyers. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What would you add to the list? What would you remove from it? What are your top 5 destroyers? Let me know all that jazz in the comments down below. Hope you guys have a wonderful Monday and wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.